If you ask somebody suddenly, how do I improve my English? It's like saying, what is the meaning of life? Well, some people might have a good answer to that. But because people ask me this question so often, I thought I would try to answer it. I'm going to give you 5 tips for improving your English. And then one thing that you can do to sound way more fluent, and it's a very simple thing, at the end of the video. So here we go. Number 1, confidence is extremely important. Personality is actually important too, but let's focus on confidence. So you've probably seen the Olympics, okay? And if you've seen the Olympics, you've probably seen a diver. You stand at the top of a diving board or platform, they jump off, they do a bunch of flips, and then land in the water. And it's amazing, right? It's amazing. Imagine that person, the first time they jumped off a diving board. The very first time, maybe 10 years before. And how different it would be the first time they did it. They're probably at the edge of the platform like this. Oh my God, it's so far. Thinking about how scary it is to jump off the platform. Not even considering flipping around and landing in the water perfectly. What's the difference between this and this? Well, this person is much more confident, obviously. But why? How did they get there? Well, they did it many, many times, over and over and over. And every time they faced a fear, they pushed past it. And after a while, it got comfortable. And then they had a new fear, maybe, and they pushed past that. That's exactly how your attitude about English learning should be. So you have to push past your fears, practice as much as you can, speak as much as you can, so that you can build up your confidence and get more comfortable in the language. It's exactly the same. Number 2, you need to make English part of your life. You need to have an English lifestyle. If you look at somebody who moves to another country for 10 years, they become part of that culture and they understand the language more deeply because they lived it, right? But you can do some things like that too, even if you don't live in another country, even if you don't have what's called immersion. If you just learn it, like look at a book and do a couple exercises twice a week, do you think you're actually going to become a better communicator in English? Do you think you're actually going to sound more natural? No. That might be one of your tools, but you've got to swim around in the language. You've got to get a feeling for the culture. Read articles, watch movies, join groups, listen to podcasts, talk to people. The more you do and the more you make it part of your life, instead of thinking of it as a subject to learn, again, the more comfortable you're going to get, and it's going to become part of who you are instead of being this terrible thing that you have to do. If you're able to find something that you're actually interested in, something you're passionate about, related to English, you're going to want to do it instead of thinking of it as something that you dread. So find whatever it is you're passionate about and link it to English in some way, and that will motivate you not to do something that you dislike, but actually motivate you to do it because you want to. Number 3, laziness is bad, struggle is good. Now, this is obvious, but it's important to keep in mind when you're practicing and trying to improve your English. 1, you need to keep working. Even if you spend a short amount of time each day doing something, whether it's taking a class or reading or writing or learning new words, whatever it is, watching this video maybe, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to make it regular, even if it's a small amount. 20 minutes a day adds up to a lot of time. 0 minutes a day doesn't add up to anything. You've got to force yourself outside of your comfort zone. If something is difficult, that doesn't mean that it's something you should avoid. You should face that thing so that you can actually get through it and get better. When you watch a movie, try watching it without subtitles, or at least with just English subtitles. It's more difficult, but you're going to have to force yourself to pay attention to the movie. And when you do that, you're improving faster. Context is really important. There's a reason why people who go to other countries to study or work generally improve their English a lot faster, because all of the new words and phrases they're learning are in context. That means it's not just that word by itself, it's in a situation. You can see how it's used, because often in English and any other language, this word can be used in this situation, but you can't use it in this situation. And the dictionary doesn't always tell you when it should be used. So, whether you're listening to your teacher, or you're watching a movie, or you're having a conversation, or you're reading, and reading can be a really good way to learn words in context, make sure you pay attention to how the word is used and in what situation it's used. If you don't pay attention to that when you learn the new word or phrase, then you're probably never going to use it again. Or if you do use it, there's a very high chance that you'll use it in the wrong situation and it's going to sound weird. So always when you learn a word, try to learn the different forms of the word. For example, forgot, forgotten, forget, these are the different forms of the word. And then find examples to see how it's actually used, so that then your understanding of the word is connected to a situation, instead of coming out and sounding very awkward or uncomfortable. When you speak your native language and you say a word, say banana, okay? The thing that that word is connected to is the thing itself, the idea of banana, right, directly. But sometimes when you're speaking your second language, English, instead of thinking of that thing directly, often second language English speakers are translating it through their language, let's say Chinese, and then to the idea of that thing. And that means every time you hear a word or say a word, it needs to go through this middle thing, which is your first language. That is so tiring and inefficient. And when you do that, it's not going to come out as natural, because you're probably forming your sentences in your own native language first, and the grammar is totally different than English. So it sounds weird when it comes out. This video is not to teach you how to think in English, but you really have to start to try to think in English, because if you don't try to do that, if you don't begin to do it, you're never really going to become fluent. So those are the 5 tips I'd like you to keep in mind in general. You've got to be confident, you've got to have an English lifestyle, you can't be lazy, you have to work hard, don't be afraid of struggle. You've got to learn things in context, and you've got to start thinking in English. Now, the last thing I promised to teach you is something very simple you can do to sound more natural when you're speaking English. This is a bonus. A lot of English learners think that native English speakers who sound natural always speak quickly. That's not true. I'm speaking pretty slowly right now, and I sound natural. So what is it? Here's the difference. Often, when learners of English speak, they break each word up into pieces and stop their voices between words, and sometimes even inside of the word. So, for example, this sentence is slow, but I'm also stopping my voice. That doesn't sound very natural at all. But if I were to continue my voice and carry my voice through the sentence as much as I can, it's going to sound a lot more natural. So I'm going to say a sentence 2 times. The first time I say it, I'm going to break it. And the second time, I'm going to say it at the same speed, but I'm going to say it and carry my voice through. Ready? I'm always giving away my good ideas. I'm always giving away my good ideas. I'm always giving away my good ideas. The voice never stops throughout that whole sentence. Now, sometimes you do need to stop if there's a T sound or a sh sound, something like that. Indian food is really spicy, but I love it. Indian food is really spicy, but I love it. Way more natural. So I hope you found the 5 English learning tips useful, as well as the bonus pronunciation suggestion. If you did, I hope you can share this with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. If you like this video, you might like other videos I've made too. So make sure you subscribe. It's the red button. Push the red button. If you really like the video, make sure to check out my Udemy page. I have some courses there that are really useful if you're improving your English. Of course, you can also look me up on WeChat if you want to chat on WeChat.